I've recently been having a hyperfixation phase on higher dimensions. Kinda just thinking about random theoretical models of higher dimensional space without actually understanding anything. We've got the typical cube inside of a cube with connected points, which is the tesseract or hypercube. Then there's string theory models, which I do not get in the slightest, so just gonna move past that. And then there's the 3D representation using non-orthogonal directions to act as higher dimensions. By non-orthogonal, I mean it's not in line with the typical 3D origin. Instead of being in line with the X, Y, and Z axes, it's a combo of all of them. I'm choosing this one because all the pieces are the same length, so they're easy to mass produce, and it just looks cool. Plus, I can slightly comprehend this one, so might as well. So I'm going to be making a 6D unit of space, going through all the dimensions as I build it up. It'll end up as kind of an interconnected cube of cubes. First, for the 0th dimension, you just have a point. Any number to the 0th is just 1, so that's kinda how I make sense of this in my head. Then you've got the 1st dimension, which creates a line. So you can go left and right, but you're stuck in the vertical direction. Once we have those unlocked, it becomes the 2nd dimension, or a plane. You can move anywhere in the area of the square, but not in or out of the screen. Next comes the cube. It's just 2 planes sandwiched together, with each point being connected to its respective point on the other plane. And now it's a unit of volume. I make sure to pre-solder each end of the steel wire since it's a little easier to melt solder to solder and not have to worry about heating up the steel while trying to make sure it all stays structurally sound. I'm also being sure to keep things as square as possible at the start. As we go up in dimensions, the form is going to be more and more distorted by slight imperfections piling up, so I might as well just take my time. Now we get to the more interesting stuff. The next dimensional space starts with 2 cubes interlocked and connected by the same length wires. The off-angle wires are representing the 4th dimension, or as if there was another lettered axis in the origin somehow. I just picked a random direction that I didn't think would overlap with the other wires. Going to the 5th dimension, you can just pick another direction and build another 40 cube. I decided to make this new direction 90 degrees off of the 4th dimension, or orthogonal, so I can keep things more cubic, possibly a bit more aesthetically pleasing. The shape is pretty much a plane of cubes. Every point on the square is a cube itself, and every nested vertex is connected to its respective points. Finally, that plane of cubes becomes a cube of cubes, a cube squared. So one single unit in the 6th dimension becomes a blob with 32 intersections instead of just 8 in the 3rd. So I don't have to struggle to put in the pieces without tools. I'm just doing the bottom half first, so the buried connections are a little bit more accessible. I thought the metal was a little boring, so I painted it black and added a little radial ombre color, which you'll see better in the next clip. It has a cool little fade as it spins. I honestly didn't expect it to work out as well as it did, but yeah, it's pretty mesmerizing. Alright, well, there's a 6D hypercube for you. Completely useless in the real world, but fun to think about and cool to look at. Happy I made it, even if I'm still just as confused about all this stuff as I was before. I also found that it's pretty easy to get lost in the shadow it casts. The 2D projection really meshes it all together and emphasizes the weirdness as it spins. Yeah, you can kind of see the cubes coming into perspective before just shifting away into whatever the fuck they turn into. But yeah, it's just fun to look at. I may or may not have stared at it for 2 hours in the middle of editing this. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and have a good one.